Unemployment rate ticked up from 4% to 4.1%, with Doge's federal government jobs cuts playing a role in that. But U.S. employers added 151,000 jobs last month. That is below forecasted, but still pretty solid. Patrick Mueller, RFC and president of Bella Advisors, joins me now. Patrick, good to have you back. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you again as well.
All right, so President Trump, he also touted that for the first time in 15 months, job gains for native-born Americans exceeds the job gains for foreign-born workers. So that was another part that he was proud of. What does today's jobs report as a whole tell you?
Yeah, I thought the jobs report that came out today, you could see from the markets today that the markets thought that it was a very positive move, especially when Jerome Powell came out and said that he was optimistic as well. But it was, a little bit off of what they thought the expectations were going to be. But that's all it is, right? They're just guessing of what the expectation is going to be. Did we hit it? Did we not hit it? But there was, different sectors that did really good, like healthcare was doing good, manufacturing jobs, more were being added, often and some other places. But, probably the biggest, cuts that we're going to see happen, that's been happening and continue to see happening is from the government with Doge. Finding, all the waste and fraud and abuse. And, we always hate to see anybody losing their job. I don't think that I feel any pain for people that are losing their jobs that couldn't reply back to an email. Maybe they got to do like a fog the mirror test or something moving forward. But all in all, I mean, the government is obese, and we got to start losing some weight.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why he was elected: drain the swamp, trim the fat, stop the bloat. A lot of people are up in arms over the federal job losses, though, but they had nothing to say when the XL pipeline was shut down, when all those thousands of people lost their jobs, when thousands of firefighters, nurses, police officers lost their jobs after not wanting to get the jab they didn't need. That's another story entirely, but let's talk tariffs, because that is confusing a lot of people. 1 minute they're on, then they're paused, like right now, and then they're not here, they're there. Anyway, bottom line, seems like it's the art of the deal, right, Patrick? So the president says he's pushing these countries not just to stop exploiting America with unfair trade deals, but to save American lives by cracking down on the flow of deadly drugs coming in, which killed more than 100,000 Americans last year. And then fentanyl is now the leading cause of death for young Americans ages 18 to 45. 18 to 45. That's according to the CDC. So the president even said that we need to accept short-term pain. So now the same people who turned a blind eye to Biden's sky-high inflation are now suddenly losing it over tariffs. Really, Patrick? Can you even put a price on American lives? Like, is there a bigger picture here? Short-term economic pain for long-term economic gain? Is that a thing?
Yeah, common sense isn't so common, right? When you're hearing things from a lot of these other networks and talking heads that are out there, it's absolutely nuts. And when it comes to the tariffs, like you said, it's the art of the deal. It's a negotiating tactic where he realizes that the power that the U.S. has, and that a lot of these countries just can't hold us accountable. We're holding them accountable, and it's a party that's been going on and gone off the rails for the last 4 years, and it's like dad's home now, right? And things are starting to get cleaned up, and so everybody's freaking out a little bit, and that's why we're seeing these big spikes in the markets, and like Trump was saying, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and we're going to continue to see this because things need to be cleaned up. It's going to take a while to turn things around. And Alicia, it reminds me that I was watching a movie recently with my wife called Summer Rental with John Candy. It was an 80s movie, and John Candy was one of my favorite comedic actors. But he was learning how to sail a boat on vacation over the summer, and he befriended a guy at this place called the Barnacle, which is basically like a big restaurant boat. So he got into this regatta race where he had to win a bet. And so he's basically racing a restaurant, and you've got the boat's not going very fast and losing the race. And then they find out that there's all these freezers of frozen fish sticks and stuff still on the boat. So then they start unloading all of these frozen fish sticks and tossing over the freezers over into the ocean. And then, he starts cooking and he starts gaining some steam. And that's what I see happening right now. And what you can see happening is the fish stacks are being thrown over, the freezers are being thrown over, right? We gotta get some of this weight and get things moving in the right direction.
Right. I mean, he's been president for 40 days at that. Like, it has to start somewhere. What about Congress, getting a tax bill done? That'll help, right?
That would definitely help. And it's such a huge looming thing because right now the tax rates are set to sunset at the end of this year. And I think most Americans don't know what's happening, that the current tax rates are ending at the end of this year. And they go back to what they were back in 2017. So you've got
huge tax increase.
It's huge. You have somebody right now that makes over $300,000 a year that pays a lower tax rate than somebody who paid $80,000 that made $80,000 back in 2017. So it's massive. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes down the road and what Congress is going to be able to do. I would say at the very least, they're going to be able to push the can down the road with the current tax rates, at least through the end of this administration. But we hope there's more. We hope there's more cuts. Like there's, we work a lot with retirees. That's all of our clients. They're retired or really close to it. So cutting taxes on Social Security, cutting tips, overtime, that bill that was passed, and hopefully it makes it through. I mean, that would be just massive for the economy.
Well, that'll help offset some of that economic pain in the short term. So let's talk about some of the left-wing memes that people keep sending me, because I want you to address this. It might also be misleading to a lot of people out there who just, take it for face value. So let's put up the first one. The headline is, so the Dow tumbles more than 600 points, S&P 500 posts biggest loss since December as Trump says tariffs will proceed. Then the comment underneath it says, takes very special idiot to drive the world's largest and strongest economy off the cliff in just 4 weeks. Go ahead, Patrick.
It's so nuts. It's like the media has had the blinders on for the last 4 years of the train wreck after train wreck policies that have been put into place over the last 4 years. So we've been on the slow decline. And then all of a sudden Trump's in office. It's like, why isn't it better yet? Right? And it's crazy. So they're not giving any time, anything negative that they could possibly throw out there. If you love Trump or hate him, I mean, it's just common sense isn't so common these days. And you got to have some common sense and wake up, right, to what's really happening. And hopefully people are starting to come out of that fog if they're still in it.
Okay. We have very little time, but I want to get your reaction to this one, too. The next meme, it says, failure. Are we great yet? After 40 days, by the way. And then it says, Honda and Toyota are preparing to execute plans to shut down assembly lines in the U.S. because they're not willing to pay 25% premiums on materials. Tens of thousands of workers in plants in Ohio, Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Georgia will be sent home without pay. The effect on those workers and the communities they shop in will make the price of eggs seem completely insignificant. Go ahead, Patrick, take this one.
They call it fake news for a reason.
Right.
So just isn't going to happen. If you do see anything that's happening for real, it's just all blustering. These countries, they rely on the U.S. as being the consumers. We're such a powerhouse of consumption that they need us. So that's not going to happen. So I wouldn't be paying any attention to that whatsoever because that particular headline is not true.
Fact check false. That one's obvious. All right, Patrick Mueller, RFC and president of Bella Advisors. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.
Yeah, you got it.